And welcome to part 2 of London's abandoned tube stations, where we're touring around 19 locations that you can still see in London today. And we pick up the trail again at Angel Station on the Northern Line.
When Angel Station, famous for its old narrow island platform, was rebuilt in the early 1990s, it got a whole new station entrance. The old one survives around the corner on Torrens Street, complete with some modern artwork telling you to do what you love. Well, in that case, that's track down old tube stations and point out their emergency exits.
So the old Angel Station entrance is over there. Here we just come down a little way onto City Road. I'm actually above the platforms and the tunnels right now. And that platform level, there's a crossover corridor with some doors, and they lead to an emergency exit with some stairs inside. And if you were to ever take those stairs, come with me, that would bring you out to this building here. And these grey doors is where you'd come out. So we're between Angel and Old Street. The Northern Line is beneath us, and this half-demolished building is all that's left of the very dilapidated City Road station. It closed in 1922 when it became part of the Northern Line. Before that, it had been opened up by the City and South London Railway, and the size of their tunnels was slightly smaller to what we know now. And when all the different lines merged up to become the Underground, they had to increase the size of their tunnels so that they were all the same. They closed City Road in 1922 while they could do those works. In 1924, when the Northern Line became as one, poor old City Road never reopened.
And from the deep level tube to a couple of subsurface abandoned stations on the Metropolitan line. First stop, King's Cross.
Come to King's Cross on the Victoria Line, you can come out at the Pentonville Road entrance exit at King's Cross Station. And we're here at King's Cross to go and find the old King's Cross Station. So we've come down Leek Street into the back streets of King's Cross. There's actually lots of roads here. We can look down onto the cut and cover trains below. But if you come into here, St Chad's Place in particular, there's one cool thing that you can see.
The eastbound platforms are no longer there, consumed by the also abandoned King's Cross Thameslink station, but the westbound platforms you can see from the street and also from passing trains. Take a westbound Metropolitan line train from King's Cross, and between Baker Street and Finchley Road there's actually 3 abandoned stations, but the most obvious one that you can still see today is
Marlborough Road, which is this building here that still survives. Painted cream, it's on the junction of the rather busy Finchley Road and Queen's Grove. So Marlborough Road never saw that many passengers during its tenure on the Metropolitan line, and the death knell came in 1939 when the Bakerloo line, what's now the Jubilee line, opened up the road in St John's Wood Station up the road in 1939, and then it closed. There's 3 abandoned stations in this area, Lord's and the Met Swiss Cottage, but Marlborough Road is the one that remains the most obvious with this physical street level building today. And the best place to see the trains, well, you can see it around the back through a fence, but if you go over there to that rather thin house, you can peer over the brick wall for an excellent look down onto the tracks.
And here's a quick one that people often forget about. Go down the district of Fulham Broadway, and if you look along from where the modern station building is, you can see where the old station building still is. We headed out to East London to wrap up another couple of stations, and the first you can do from a train. Get on a Hammersmith and City Line train from Liverpool Street going to Aldgate East, and halfway round the curve, look out the right hand side and you'll see this, the old platform, and up high, the old footbridge still buried down in the tunnel. Then change at Whitechapel and head north to Shoreditch High Street. Take a walk along Brick Lane and then turn into Pedley Street to find the old East London Line station, Shoreditch. It used to be in a deep cutting, but since they built the overground, it was all filled in.
And I'm walking now along where the old platform and the old alignment used to be. When they built the overground up here, it goes over that new bridge. But the old track and the old platform used to be here, ending at this, the station building. So Shoreditch, when it was open, was the northern terminus of the East London Line. Even when it was open, it only had a limited service, Monday to Fridays in the peak, closed all day Saturdays and open Sunday for the nearby Brick Lane Market. This door is the doorway into the old ticket office, and the building itself these days is very colourful.
Finally, we went to Holborn Tube Station where we got out and walked down the Kingsway until we got to Surrey Street.
And that brings us to the last station on our tour here of all the abandoned stations in London, and we finish with probably the most well-known one in London, that is Aldwych. It's well known because the nearby London Transport Museum often sell tickets, and you can go for a tour to go down and see the platforms which closed in 1994, running the shuttle service between here and Holborn.
When the station first opened, it actually used to say Piccadilly Tube instead of RLY.
So this is the 19th station on our tour today in this video. There are actually more abandoned buildings and disused stations in London. The trouble is, you can't give a total figure because it depends on how you classify them.
Some old tube stations have platforms bricked up at tunnel level. Some also have street level buildings which you can see, whilst others have been demolished with no trace of them at all. And some modern day stations have predecessors which you probably didn't even know about. If you total all those up on our map, it comes to 48 stations. However, if you add on others such as the East London line, which was turned into the Overground, the old Bakerloo line up to Watford, Essex Road and Drayton Park, which were once on the Northern line, and then don't forget that the Metropolitan line once extended beyond Amersham, and even the District ran services to Windsor and Southend, it adds up to several more. So there's a lot to see and discover out there. So why not, next time you have some spare time, grab an Oyster card, get out and try and discover some of London's abandoned tube stations.